Welcome and welcome back to Selfishly Colette. My name is Colette, and we are doing the mid-year book freakout tag. So basically a couple of questions just following up about all the books I read this year, my thoughts, my opinions, disappointments, surprises, prettiest books purchased. So if you are interested in any of that, go ahead and stick around. All right, you guys, as always, thank you so much for staying around here. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you are notified whenever I do release a new video. And I'm going to go ahead and jump into the first question. So question number one, how many books have you read so far this year? I have my notes here as always, so if you see me looking down, that's what it is. So far, I have a total of 57 books, and that does include rereads. So I've reread a few books. I don't know the exact number, so just know that's included in my 57 books for the year. Best book of 2026. So far, as we stand today, my best book I've read so far is Daggermouth by H.M. Wolfe. That book was divine. The book follows Grayson and Shadera. Grayson is the president's son of the Heart. I think that's called a Heart. And then Shadera is a mercenary. Yeah. And she got a kill contract to go in and take out the president's son. And she botches and things happen. And it goes from there. I don't want to give away too much. It's actually pretty good. It's a dystopian novel about what could be. They wear masks. I don't understand the point of the mask, but they do wear masks. And it just talks about Shadera and Grayson. It's basically showing both sides of the world that they live in and how everything isn't always peaches and cream. So you are essentially looking at two sides of the same coin. Yes, he is the president's son, but he's doing things that he doesn't even want to do to people he doesn't want to do anything to be able to live. Because if you go against the president, you're put to death. There are no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And then Shadera is a mercenary. So you have this concept in your mind that all of these people are just out to get you, poor people specifically, which they do. But at the same time, they're also forced into ways of doing things that they don't want to do, the same way you're having to live a life. It's really just where you were born, right? And then you also have people that are in the inside, in the heart, because it's like three rings, and the people in the center of it, the heart of it, they have some people that are in there that try to assist as much as they can. They send out medical supplies and things like that. They work on the inside and try to get out, things to the outer rings so that they can live another day. So it is really good, especially the last 50 pages. Girl, how did you fit that into the last 50 pages? I don't understand. I like it though, but I don't understand. So yes, best book so far 2026 is Daggermouth by H.M. Wolfe. All right, the next question is, I just put the book down, the best sequel that you've read so far. And I'm going to have to say the best sequel I've read so far this year is Respectfully Kennedy by Antoinette Sherell. Antoinette Sherell is one of my favorite authors. Rarely does she miss for me. I don't even know how I came across, I do know how I came across her. Someone was bragging about Lessons from a Hidden Treasure, and I read that book. Now that book was a pivot book between Savvy and Shabu's book and going into Relic's book. So I got it at the opportune time. It was perfect. Love that book. It was actually one of my top books, I think, if not last year, then the year prior. No, it was the year prior, 2024. Fantastic. Love the series. So now we're following Relic's story in the family saga, and Kennedy is the love interest for Relic. And Kennedy, I love it. I love that she does not lay down for that man. She doesn't just take anything he says or does. She handles business, and I respect it. I love that she is able to stand up to him, and he is able to respect her enough to listen, and he needs that, especially with his character. He is one of the few characters I will say is actually morally gray. People say morally gray and no. He will kill you and don't care. This man is insane. Insane. Love him though. But he's insane. So, Respectfully Kennedy by Antoinette Sherell was definitely the best sequel I read so far this year. The next question, new releases I haven't read yet, but I want to. So I purchased 3 new books this year that came out in the first half of the year. The Misconnection by Tia Williams. Also, Burn the Sea by Mona Tewari. I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. I know I am. And then Cabaret in Flames by, I can't even pronounce it. I apologize. They're on the screen. The Misconnection by Tia Williams. Tia Williams is legitimately one of my favorite authors as well. So for her, I absolutely have to read that book. I'm not in a reading mood right now. I've been watching TV and chilling, so it's gonna have to wait. But yes, The Misconnection. And then Burn the Sea is a retelling of, it is a fantastical retelling of the Portuguese attacks on South India and the queen that had to basically make it happen so that they can survive. So you should look into it. I heard about it. I thought it was the way that they wrote the synopsis, the summary of this book, I really thought it caught my eye. So that's definitely one. And then I also have Cabaret in the Flames. I apologize. I misspoke. Cabaret in Flames. I was like, why am I not finding this? Cabaret in Flames follows like vampires and ghouls. It's supposed to be this dark romantasy. I got the audio book and not the physical book. It's only like 5 or 6 hours, so I'm pretty sure I'll listen to that soon, hopefully. But honestly, one of the main draws was the book cover. I just thought it was pretty, so I had to get it. But yeah, Cabaret in Flames. The next question here is most anticipated release for the second half of this year. This is where you go ahead and take out your pen and notebook because I have a few. Okay? All right. We're going to start with Hawk and Sparrow by Ayana Gray. This comes out September 1st. I have like 11 books, so I'm not going to go into detail of each. I'm just going to read out the names and the release dates. If you want to go ahead and look into them, absolutely do so. But I will try to, at the very least, give you those names and what genre. If I'm not mistaken, Hawk and Sparrow is supposed to be fantasy. And then we have Death Card by Jasmine Smythe. That is going to be released August 11th. That should also be a fantasy and a YA, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. I think it's a YA though. The next one is The Sixth Faction by Veronica Roth. That comes out October 6th, 3 days after my birthday. If you did not read, what is the name of that book? Divergent series by Veronica Roth. Go ahead and do so. Fantastic series. I ate it up. Also, I read it 10 years ago, so may not stand. I don't know. But I am totally intrigued by this because I love the series so much. I wanted to go ahead and read the next book that she's going to do. So I believe The Sixth Faction is supposed to be following, there are 5 factions in the Divergent world. And the Sixth Faction is basically the underground people and the coup. They have essentially, the factions mean that you only have, or you possess this major thing about you. So you have the Amity, they're super nice, they do the farming. And then you have the Candor, which they're so honest and straightforward with you, so they do the law. And then you have the Erudite, they're incredibly intelligent, so they handle sciences and so everyone has a faction. If you don't fall into a faction because you have to take a test when you become of age, I don't know what that is, 16, 18, I don't care. You become of age, you have to take a test and see what faction you go into. Triss, who was the main character in the Divergent series, left from, what faction was she in? I can't even remember. But she left her faction and she went into Dauntless, who are the protectors of the place. But she basically fell into all factions, and that's a no-no. And so the sixth faction, these are people that may have one or more. So they're displaced, but they don't think, the government, so to speak, doesn't think that they actually have more than one faction. They think they just don't fit in at all. So the sixth faction by Veronica Roth. The next book I have is Everything Was Beautiful and Nothing Hurt by Ben Reeves. Why do I have this book? I don't even know why I have it. Let's look it up. I wrote it down because I write down these books as I see them, and then I try to get the dates, because sometimes they'll say something or look, the picture will be pretty or whatever it is, and it draws me in, and then I have to know. So what is this for? Says, for fans of Frederick Bachman and Virginia Evans, Travis is death in the modern world. He lives with his cat in a small gray town. His job is to offer people comfort in their final hours of life, which he does without complaint or judgment. He's stoic, gentle, and a little naive, despite who he is, but he never tries to change anyone's fate. He is responsible for maintaining the balance of nature, and every life must eventually end. Then Travis meets Talia, a midwife, and her boisterous 8-year-old daughter Layla, who live across the hall. And despite his best attempts to keep his distance, he finds himself wholeheartedly embraced by other people for the first time. So it is with this seemingly unremarkable family that Travis begins to understand what it means to truly be alive and what might be irrevocably lost in death. I just feel like that's such a good synopsis. Like, you're basically meet Joe Black. Yeah, but in book format. So there is that. Then I have another book, Wicked Endeavors by Kamilah Cole. I don't know if I told you about the Everything Was Beautiful and Nothing Hurt. That comes out July 7th. So in a couple days. Wicked Endeavors by Kamilah Cole comes out September 8th. I'm not going to hold you. I have a lot of her books on my radar simply because she's Jamaican. It is what it is. Okay. All right. The First House by Avni Doshi, November 10th. Now, I've seen Avni Doshi's name quite a bit. I have never read any of her books, but this one looked interesting. Let me just see what the brief synopsis is, if I can find it for you. First House. Let's see. When my husband comes into the bedroom we have shared for 13 years and tells me he doesn't want to be married anymore, I reach for my neck. My head is missing. A husband announces he is leaving, that he was never happy. A woman is left behind with their 2 children in a house they built together, reeling at their forced recasting of the story of their marriage. Everything becomes strange. An encounter at the grocery store, a looming cicada horde, a statue of Diana that suddenly appears in her neighbor's yard. Or was it always there? As she wades through the aftermath of her marriage, her complicated family resurfaces. Although close to her parents, her relationship with them is strained, and she is fully estranged from her older sister, the perfect daughter, who still lives at home and always disapproved of her husband. So when did the trouble begin, and where will she go from here? Yeah, I like it. Okay, sounds intriguing. That one, again, is November 10th. I have Mutual Discord by Liana de la Rosa. Yep, that comes out August 18th. Carved in Ice by Smardline S. That comes out October 30th, and that will be released on Kindle Unlimited. So if you do have Kindle Unlimited, you can get it there as well. You don't have to buy the physical book if you don't want to. Watch my previous videos, then you know Smardline S wrote, what's the name of that book? Something on Ice, child. And she wrote Frostbound. Written in Ice? Written on Ice. Yep, that's it. And I enjoyed those books. So yes, I am looking forward to it. This is actually the completion to it. It is a duology. So Carved in Ice by Smardline S. Then we have Dark Star by Tonja K. Johnson. That will come out December 18th. That will also be released on Kindle Unlimited. How did I find her? I think I was on my iPad tripping, y'all. I was on what is the name of that thing? Threads. And she was trying to find people to read her book. And there we go. Found it. She was trying to find people to read her book. And then when I read the summary of it, I was like, yeah, I'm intrigued. So it says, the ancestors have only ever demanded one thing. Never forget there is power in your blood. Brianna Bryant has only 3 months before graduating from the Secret College of Magical Negroes. And that means she is nearly out of time before her life is claimed by the same occult society that has made her their chosen one. But before the elders can enact their plan and perform their final ritual that will make her into a weapon forged for vengeance, she has her own plans. Her 3 goals: 1. Discover the magical escape route she believes is connected to campus. 2. Dip out on the blood-worshipping death cult before graduation. And 3. Absolutely do not fall for the boy hired to keep her in line. This is right up my alley. So, I never applied for it because, you know, as much as I would love to be a reader that get arcs, I'm a mood reader. I cannot guarantee that I'm going to read it ahead of when you release the book. So I don't want to take away someone else's opportunity if I'm not going to be able to fit into that. The next book I have is Strike a Chord by Monet. And I also saw this on Threads. You know, I'm on Threads a lot. I'm not going to hold you. And this book comes out October 28th. This will also be released on Kindle Unlimited. It says Raquel Vaughn is ready to take on the music industry, even if it means dropping out of college without telling her parents and moving to LA with nothing but a killer wardrobe, a voice that shreds, and a whole lot of ambition. Famous on Pulse, a video sharing app for her gritty covers and alt-girl edge, Raquel is determined to build the band of her dreams, despite the fact the dream is taking longer than expected. Slater Hudson, known to the world as the Prince of Punk, is spiraling. Haunted by his late rock star father's legacy and reeling from a messy breakup splashed across every tabloid, he's desperate to win back his ex. So after a brief but unforgettable run-in with Raquel goes viral, he proposes a deal. If she pretends to be his girlfriend to make his ex jealous, in return, he'll use his star power to help launch her band into the spotlight. It's a win-win, until the spotlight shines a bit too bright. Now, if you know me, you know I really do not care for fake dating tropes, and yet I always find myself reading books with fake dating. So do I really not care for it? A conundrum. So that is Strike a Chord by Monet, and that comes out October 28th. The next one I have is Ghosted by Talia Tucker. That comes out November 10th. And then the final one I have is Scion by James Islington, which comes out September 1st. I'm going to be honest with you, it's James Islington. After reading, oh, look here, the book, The Will of the Many by James Islington, I have become a fan. He has my respect. And I can appreciate that he takes time to create his stories, craft his characters, show growth in the character. Also, his storytelling, top tier. Absolutely fantastic. Love that. So Scion, September 1st. I am here for that. The next question is biggest disappointment so far. I have 3. The first one is The Roommate Risk by Talia Hibbert. I was introduced to Talia Hibbert from reading Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute. If you see me looking this way, it's because I have a stack of books over here that I'm looking at. I had to get the name. Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute. That book was a YA. I loved it. I ate it up. I recommend it to everyone. I thought it was funny and witty and nice. And then I went into her other books. I don't like her adult books. I think YA is where she works for me. Her adult books do not work for me. I'm so sorry. So that was disappointing because I just knew that this book was going to hit. Even the synopsis of it said, just no. Staying for La Lluvia by Shelley Cruz. I was looking for Latin authors to read. I'm so sorry to have you on this list, Miss Cruz. This didn't do it for me. It was about this woman, I believe she's a lawyer, and she meets this superstar. She is Latina, but she does not pay attention to Latina music, I guess. Latin music. I don't, you know, reggaeton, none of that. That's not her shtick. And so she doesn't know that he's a superstar. She goes home with him. They have the best night ever. And then he can't let go because he's like, nope, I want her. That was fantastic. And it was the fact that she spoke to him like a person and didn't treat him like a celebrity, and he needed that. And they go from there. It just did not hit. It didn't land. I didn't like the execution of it. She was kind of whiny. And I was reading the book to my best friend who is Hispanic, and she was like, why is she just saying phrases in Spanish for no reason? Like, no, it just didn't flow well for me. I wanted her to read the book just to make sure I wasn't tripping. It just didn't flow well for me. That was disappointed. I literally pre-ordered that book. I pre-ordered it. Beautiful cover. Not for me. And then the third one, the final one, is Drunk on Love by Jasmine Guillory. I think I'm gonna have to give up on Jasmine. I was eating up her wedding date books, that series, the wedding date and the proposal and all of that. Love those books. And then anything else outside of that, I did not like. So I think that was the series for me, from her. I don't think I can continue with anything else from her, unfortunately. That so sad, because I really, really enjoyed those books. All right, moving on to the biggest surprise of this year. So, first and foremost, Our Vicious Oaths by Annie Davenport. Where I been at? Why has no one told me about Annie Davenport? Granted, I've been seeing her name for years, so I know she's been there, you know. I'm just saying, you should have pushed harder for me to read her. This is clearly y'all's fault. What's happening? So, Our Vicious Oaths. This is Black Fae. I didn't even know that was a thing. Thank you. I totally needed that. Ate it up. It is on Kindle Unlimited currently, well, at the time of this recording. So you can check and see if it's still there. But yeah, Our Vicious Oaths by Annie Davenport. It's about a woman. She's over one Fae realm and a king over another Fae realm, and they have to work together to take out the bad guy. Simple, sweet, to the point. Still has all the Fae stuff in there. Still has the smut that if you want that. But there's actual plot. I highly recommend Our Vicious Oaths. Also another surprise, which is my book, Daggermouth by H.M. Wolfe. I already told you a brief synopsis about that. That surprised me. I didn't think I was going to eat it up as much as I did. I think I finished it in a day. It took me a day to read that book. Ate it up. That was available in Kindle Unlimited. I don't know if it's still there. You can check. But I read that in that was one of the first books I finished in January of this year. So you can definitely check it out, see if that's still there. The next one that surprised me, shocked me, I did a whole book review on it. I can link it for you. The Last Man on Earth by Shae Sanders. Survivalist romance. Again, I didn't know I needed a survivalist romance story in my life. Loved it. If you have any more recommendations for a survivalist romance story, send them over here. Ate that book up. Loved it. And then Lore Olympus by Rachel Smith. I did not know I needed a Greek mythology retelling done in modern times. I did not. That was really a huge surprise for me. I just wanted to read a graphic novel to do my my thing in Storygraph, my challenge in Storygraph, and say I've read something that was outside of my norm. Now I'm over here buying all the books. Buying all the books. Okay, here we are. All right, next question. Favorite new author? I have two. First one being Shae Sanders. Love you, girl. Hey, how you doing? She did it. Shae Sanders introduced me to a whole new world I didn't know I needed to be introduced to. And she writes everything. All her books do focus on romance. However, they're different. I've read 3 books from her so far, and all 3 of them are done differently. One was a survivalist romance, one was like a fake dating trope, and then one was like a stalker romance. She has the variety, okay? If you need variety, that's who you need. That's who got you. Shae Sanders. Also, Bolu Babalola. I read Sweet and Spice. What's the name of this book? Honey and Spice, and then Sweet Heat by Bolu Babalola. I love her storytelling. I love her penmanship. She is Nigerian, if I'm not mistaken, British Nigerian. And I think what really resonated with me outside of that, though, even though I'm not Nigerian, but what resonated with me is that fact that they had so much Jamaican lingo culture within that British role, which I already know because I do have family that lives in Great Britain. But to read it in a book and be able to see myself, I love that. I love that I'm able to identify with something that I've never been to, never seen, never dealt with, and I'm there. Does that make sense? I enjoy that. So for her, I know she has other books out. I'm definitely going to go ahead and pick up some more, but Bolu Babalola, she made the list for me, those two authors. The next question is a book that made you cry. Sweet Heat by Bolu Babalola. Sweet Heat follows Honey and Spice. You know, I should have put that on a sequel. That was a good sequel as well. Sweet Heat follows Honey and Spice, and to figure out and understand why they didn't work after college and how they came to be as adults. I think she did that really well. And explaining his reasoning, she did it really well. And I felt for him. I understood him. And I love that in her characters, you're able to see both sides and you're not picking sides. You're able to see both sides and understand why things didn't work out the way they did and why they needed time to themselves to come back to each other. I thought it was beautifully done. Sweet Heat. Now, if you do want to read Sweet Heat, you can totally read it without reading Honey and Spice. It's not a requirement, but I just think reading Honey and Spice gives you the backstory. So there's that. The next question is a book that made me happy. Okay, let's get into it. A book that made me happy. I have 3 listed here. First one, Olympus. I love it. Love it. You're gonna hear it a lot. Love it. If you haven't read it, please go ahead and do so. They're not available on Kindle Unlimited. Recommend it. I really do. Greek mythology retelling of Hades and Persephone, y'all. Not much to it. And it's a graphic novel, so essentially a comic book. It's not going to take you long. Okay? Yeah. The next one, Honey and Spice by Bolu Babalola. I just mentioned that. That does follow these 2 characters, Malachi and I can't remember the girl's name right now. Love their love story. I love that it was a new adult romance. So I love that they're still finding themselves and also finding love. Let's leave it at that. Really done. Executed really well. And then the third book that I love, which is on my top 10 of this year, I'm going to be honest with you. A Love Bred from the Block by Antoinette Sherell. Oh my God. As a matter of fact, that was a book that made me cry too. I was so emotional after reading that. And it wasn't even that they were doing things that made me emotional. I don't know how to explain it. It was more so the way that she just told the ending of that and completed their story and their journey. Antoinette Sherell, girl, your pen game, top tier. I love you. I love your mind. I love that you take the time you take to write your books because they are well thought out. A Love Bred by the Block is following Harmony, Symphony, I don't know, astrology. Her name is something. I can't remember. And he got a name too. I don't remember that either. It's fine. So they basically meet as teenagers, grow up together, fall in love. Things happen, life happens, and then they have to find their way back to one another. I guess you could call it a second chance romance, but it is in a book. I don't know. You see their journey, where they end up, and how they figure out life. And I love it. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. Next question. The most beautiful books I have bought or received this year. Oh, please, let me get them. So, the first book is Finding Jupiter by Kamilah Rowe. I thought this was beautiful. Do you see it? Isn't it gorgeous? Look at it. Look at it. Love it. Love it. Love it. The next book I got, which I've showed you, is The Reaper by Jackson P. Brown. Minus the stickers. But yeah. And this book was signed by the author. Oh, please, let me show you. I'm so excited. Bam. See that? But yes, The Reaper. And then finally, Lord Olympus by Rachel Smythe. I'm telling you. Also, I'm seeing a theme here. It looks like I like these colors together. The blues, the purples, the pinks. Hold up. Let's see if I can do all three. Let's see if I can do all three. See? There we go. Yeah. These are the 3 most beautiful books I have purchased / received this year. And now we are going into the final question, which is books that I want to read this year. So with the books that you want to read this year, essentially, I mean, obviously you want to read them all. But the 3 main ones that I want to do, I want to continue the Lord Olympus series. As I said, I already went ahead and purchased some of the books, some of the rest of the story. The Misconnection by Tia Williams, because she is one of my favorite authors, so I need to read it, right? And then finally, The Reaper, which I just showed you, by Jackson P. Brown. Those 3 books are on my main radar for this year. They're just books that I feel like will bring me joy. As I go into the second half of this year, I kind of want to be less influenced by what other people are reading and get back to me and what I want to read. And that's not to say that the books have been horrible. It's just it's more so I'm not reading what I love. I'm dabbling a lot instead of going with what I know, if that makes sense. And I kind of want to just get back to me and what I enjoy. I feel like audiobooks also are starting to take over for me. I get a lot of housework done while listening to audiobooks. So that's another thing that I'm also getting into for this year. So maybe I might read Cabaret in Flames as well, because I did buy that audiobook. So let's add that to the list. But yeah. So you guys, that concludes my mid-year book freakout tag. If you want, go ahead and drop down any of your answers to any of the questions below, and then I will talk to you guys about it. I'm highly excited, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I really do appreciate you. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever I release a new video, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.